The void between Jupiter and Saturn held many secrets, but none quite like this. Commander Sarah Chen stared through the viewport of the ISS Hawking at what should have been impossible. A ship, but unlike anything humanity had ever built. Its hull seemed to drink in light, creating a void in space darker than the vacuum itself. Approaching final marker, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from the helm. 500 meters from the anomaly. Sarah nodded, her eyes never leaving the ancient vessel. They'd detected it 3 weeks ago, when its stealth field had momentarily flickered, a ghost revealing itself after untold centuries of hiding in plain sight. Initial scans suggested it was at least 50,000 years old, yet it showed no signs of decay. Energy readings are inconsistent, Dr. Williams reported from the science station. It's as if the laws of thermodynamics just don't apply. The hull temperature is simultaneously near absolute zero, and yet radiating heat in patterns that shouldn't be possible. Sarah felt a familiar tightness in her chest, the same sensation she'd experienced during her first spacewalk, that mixture of wonder and terror that came with facing the unknown. Launch the probe. A small craft detached from the Hawking's belly, its sensors primed to gather data about the mysterious vessel. As it approached, something changed. The darkness of the hull seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by a stone. "Commander," Rodriguez's voice cracked with urgency. "The probe's readings, they're showing quantum fluctuations off the scale. It's as if..." Before he could finish, a beam of pure darkness extended from the alien ship, enveloping the probe. When it retracted, the probe was gone, not destroyed, not damaged, but simply ceased to exist. "Full stop," Sarah ordered, her mind racing. This was beyond first contact protocols, beyond anything in the manual. Begin passage scans only. No active transmissions. But it was too late. The ancient vessel had awakened, and it had noticed them. The darkness rippled again, more intensely this time, and a voice filled their minds. Not sound, but pure thought translated into understanding. "The seeds have grown," it said, the message carrying with it emotions of satisfaction and anticipation. "You have reached the first threshold." Sarah's hand instinctively moved to her temple, trying to process the strange sensation of alien thoughts intermingling with her own. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the International Space Service vessel Hawking. We represent humanity and Earth. We come in peace." The response came not in words but in images. Earth, seen through alien eyes over millions of years. Humanity evolving, being subtly guided, protected from cosmic threats they never knew existed. The ship had been waiting, watching, ensuring their development remained undisturbed. "You were chosen," the thought voice continued. "Among all the young races, your kind possessed the spark. The ability to think beyond the boundaries of conventional physics. To dream of impossible things, and then make them real." Dr. Williams gasped as new data flooded his screens. "Commander, the ship is transmitting everything. Scientific knowledge beyond anything we've imagined. The secrets of gravity manipulation, quantum engineering, consciousness transfer." "Why now?" Sarah asked, both aloud and in her mind. "Why reveal yourself after all this time?" The answer came in a rush of images. Massive ships, burning worlds, a coalition of advanced races systematically suppressing the development of younger civilizations. The collective, they called themselves, self-appointed guardians of galactic stability. "They approach," the ship communicated. "They have detected your rapid advancement. They come to ensure you remain bound by their laws, their limitations. We chose you because you can transcend them." Sarah understood then. This wasn't just first contact. This was inheritance. An ancient race had hidden this ship, this repository of impossible knowledge, waiting for a species with the right combination of creativity and determination to claim it. "There is little time," the thought voice continued. "The knowledge is yours now. Use it well. Use it in ways we never imagined. That is why you were chosen. Not to follow our path, but to forge your own." The darkness rippled one final time, and Sarah felt the ship's consciousness withdrawing. But it left behind everything, its technology, its history, and a warning. The collective was coming, and humanity would need every advantage to survive what lay ahead. As the alien presence faded, Sarah turned to her crew. Their faces showed the same mix of awe and determination she felt. Humanity had just inherited the keys to the impossible, but with them came a price. They would need to master this knowledge quickly, adapt it, improve it. The clock was ticking. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. Tell them everything's about to change. And we're going to need every brilliant mind we can get." The ISS Hawking's engines hummed to life, preparing to escort their newfound treasure home. Above them, the ancient ship seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if eager to see what its chosen inheritors would do with its gifts. The real challenge was just beginning. Humanity had been given tools that defied physics as they knew it. Now they would have to learn to use them, and quickly. The collective was coming, and they would not be pleased to find their carefully maintained order about to be disrupted by the very species they had dismissed as primitive. Sarah smiled. If there was one thing humans excelled at, it was exceeding expectations. 3 months after the discovery, the underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity. Dr. Marcus Reed stood before a holographic display that shouldn't have been possible, watching as equations rewrote themselves in real time. The ancient ship's knowledge had transformed their understanding of physics, but with each breakthrough came new questions. "The quantum entanglement matrix is stable," his assistant announced. "But we're still seeing those anomalous patterns in the subspace field." Marcus nodded, his eyes fixed on the dancing numbers. They'd learned more in 3 months than humanity had in the previous century, but it wasn't enough. Not with what was coming. Commander Sarah Chen entered the lab, her uniform bearing the newly created Sentinel Division insignia. "Tell me you have good news, Doctor." "Define good," Marcus replied, gesturing to the display. "We've managed to replicate some of their basic technologies. The quantum shields, the gravity manipulation systems, but they're more advanced systems." He shook his head. "It's like trying to teach calculus to someone who's just learned to count." Sarah's expression remained neutral, but Marcus caught the tension in her shoulders. "The collected ships entered the Kuiper Belt yesterday. Our long-range sensors suggest they're not alone." "How many?" "At least 30 vessels, all larger than anything we've ever built. And those are just the ones we can detect." Marcus turned back to his equations. "They're not coming to talk, are they?" "No," Sarah confirmed. "Our deep space arrays picked up their communications. They're calling us the contaminated ones. They believe we've been corrupted by forbidden knowledge." A bitter laugh escaped Marcus. "Forbidden knowledge. They're afraid. Afraid that we'll do what they couldn't, truly understand this technology." The holographic display flickered, showing a simulation of the ancient ship's quantum drive. They'd been studying it for weeks, trying to understand how it bent reality itself. The collected ships used conventional FTL drives, impressive, but bound by the traditional laws of physics. This was something else entirely. "We've detected unusual activity in their fleet," Sarah continued. "Energy signatures unlike anything in the ancient ship's database. They're not just coming to stop us. They're bringing something new." Marcus felt a chill. "They've been watching us, haven't they? Learning from us even as they prepare to destroy us. That's what we believe. Their technological superiority has made them complacent, but they're not stupid. They've seen how quickly we're advancing, how we're adapting the ancient technology in ways its creators never imagined." An alert sounded from one of the auxiliary stations. A young physicist rushed over, her eyes widening. "Dr. Reed, the quantum field harmonics. They're stabilizing on their own." Marcus moved to the console, his fatigue forgotten. The equations that had been fighting them for weeks were suddenly resolving themselves, forming patterns that seemed almost. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Sarah leaned in. "What am I looking at?" "Proof," Marcus said, his voice filled with wonder. Proof that the Ancient Ones chose correctly. We've been trying to understand their technology by their rules. But look, the system is adapting to how we think. It's not just responding to our commands, it's evolving with us. The implications hit them both at the same time. The ancient ship hadn't just given them technology. It had given them something that could grow, change, become something new in human hands. How long? Sarah asked. How long until we can implement these changes? Marcus studied the rapidly evolving equations. A week, maybe 2. But Sarah, we need to be careful. The power requirements alone cooled. The facility's alarms cut him off. Red emergency lights began flashing as a voice came over the intercom. Multiple quantum ruptures detected in near-Earth space. Collective vessels have bypassed our outer detection grid. Sarah was already moving. They're not waiting. They know what we've discovered. She turned back to Marcus. Whatever you're going to do, Doctor, do it fast. Humanity's time just ran out. Through the reinforced walls of the facility, they felt a deep vibration. The sound of humanity's defensive fleet engaging their drives, preparing for a battle they couldn't possibly win. Not yet. Marcus looked at his team, saw the determination in their eyes. The collective thought they could stop human progress, contain it, control it. They were about to learn why the Ancient Ones had chosen humanity as their inheritors. Begin full integration of the quantum harmonics, he ordered. If they want to see what humanity can do with forbidden knowledge, let's show them. Above them, the sky began to darken as the collective's ships moved into position. The price of knowledge was about to be paid, not by humanity, but by those who sought to keep it from them. The collective's ultimatum echoed through every communication device on Earth, their message translated into all human languages simultaneously. Their ships loomed in high orbit, massive crystalline structures that turned sunlight into arrays of deadly beauty. Your species has accessed forbidden technologies, the message declared. Submit to immediate technological regression and quarantine, or face extinction. You have 1 planetary rotation to comply. In the heart of the Atacama facility, Commander Sarah Chen watched as Dr. Marcus Reed's team worked with desperate intensity. The quantum harmonics they'd discovered had become something entirely new, a fusion of human intuition and ancient knowledge that even the ship's original builders hadn't envisioned. They're scanning us, a sensor operator reported. Their energy readings are off the charts. Whatever weapons they've brought, they're unlike anything in the ancient ship's database. Sarah turned to Marcus. Tell me we have something. The physicist's hands danced across holographic controls that responded to thought as much as touch. We've cracked it, he said, his voice tight with exhaustion and excitement. The quantum harmonics, they're not just a power source or a propulsion system. They're a key to understanding how reality itself works. On the main display, a simulation showed their breakthrough. The ancient ship's technology didn't just bend physics, it rewrote it locally, creating bubbles of space where different rules applied. But humanity had taken it further, finding ways to make these changes cascade, multiply, evolve. The collective thinks in absolutes, Marcus continued. Their technology is advanced, but it's rigid. They see physics as a set of unchangeable laws. We've learned to see it as guidelines. Above them, the collected ships began to move, taking up attack positions. Their crystalline hulls pulsed with energy, preparing to deliver on their threat. Launch the defense fleet, Sarah ordered. Across the globe, humanity's ships rose from hidden bases, vessels rebuilt with hybrid technology, crewed by volunteers who understood they might be flying to their deaths. The collected's response was immediate. Energy beams lashed out, more advanced than anything humanity had faced. 3 defense ships vanished instantly, their atoms scattered to the solar wind. But they weren't defenseless. The quantum shields they'd developed flickered to life, bending the energy attacks away. Not perfect, not impenetrable, but enough to buy time. Full power to the harmonic array, Marcus called out. Around the facility, vast machines spun up, technology that looked crude and primitive to outside observers, but contained principles that transcended conventional understanding. The collective's commander opened a direct channel. Their image appeared on the main screen, a being of crystalline symmetry, beautiful and terrible. Your resistance is futile and irrational. Accept your place in the natural order. Sarah stepped forward. That's humanity's real crime, isn't it? Not accessing forbidden technology, but daring to think beyond your limitations. You cannot comprehend the forces you are tampering with, the collective commander stated. Your species is too young, too chaotic. You must be contained. Marcus laughed, a sound of genuine amusement that seemed to disturb the crystalline being. Too chaotic. That's exactly why the Ancient Ones chose us. We don't just think outside your box. We don't even see the box. The harmonic array reached full power. Reality itself seemed to shiver as new principles took hold. The defensive ship's quantum shields didn't just deflect energy now. They absorbed it, adapted to it, learned from it. What? What are you doing? The collective commander's perfect symmetry seemed to waver. These readings are impossible. Impossible is what we do best, Sarah replied. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to take what we're given and make it into something new. The quantum harmonics reached critical resonance. In space, the human ships began to change. Their hulls rippled with patterns that hurt to look at, technology evolving in real time as human consciousness interfaced directly with the ancient systems. Final warning, the collective commander announced, but there was something new in their voice. Fear. Submit or be destroyed. Marcus's hands flew across the controls, implementing the last phase of their plan. They still don't understand, he said to Sarah. They think this is about weapons or defenses. It's not. It's about breaking free of what they think is possible. The harmonic array pulsed once, and reality answered. The human ships didn't just fight back. They began to rewrite the local laws of physics themselves, creating spaces where the collective's weapons couldn't function, where their supposedly superior technology meant nothing. Impossible. The collective commander screamed. You cannot. Can't. Sarah smiled. Humanity's favorite word to prove wrong. Now let us show you what impossible really means. The battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and humanity had no intention of playing by the collective's rules. They were about to demonstrate why the Ancient Ones had chosen them, not for their obedience to natural law, but for their ability to imagine new ones. Space itself seemed to scream as two incompatible versions of reality collided. The collective's ships fired weapons that should have annihilated everything in their path, but the human vessels responded by simply changing the rules that governed how those weapons worked. Inside the Atacama facility, Marcus watched in awe as the quantum harmonics reached full synchronization, with the human consciousness controlling them. The defensive fleet wasn't just fighting. It was evolving, learning, adapting in ways that made the collective's rigid perfection seem primitive. Multiple quantum breaches detected. A sensor operator called out. They're trying to tear apart space itself. Sarah gripped the command rail as the facility shook. They're desperate. They've never faced an enemy that could do what we're doing. On the main display, they watched as a collective dreadnought unleashed a weapon designed to collapse space-time. The crystalline beam lanced toward Earth, carrying enough power to crack the planet's crust. But 3 human ships moved in formation, their quantum-enhanced hulls rippling with impossible patterns. Instead of trying to block or deflect the attack, they did something unprecedented. They absorbed the space-time distortion, channeled it through their human-modified systems, and turned it into something new. The beam that should have destroyed Earth became a cascade of quantum possibilities, each one changing the fundamental nature of the space it passed through. Energy readings are off the scale, Marcus reported, his eyes wide. The human pilots, they're not just using the technology anymore. They're becoming part of it. The collective's commander reappeared on their screens, their crystalline form showing visible signs of stress. What have you done? This defies all natural law. That's the point, Sarah replied. You see physics as a set of immutable rules. We see it as a conversation, one we can join. Around Earth, the battle transformed into something beyond traditional combat. Human ships didn't just move through space. They rewrote it. When the collective fired weapons that should have atomized them, the crews imagined new ways for atoms to behave. When reality itself buckled under the strain of collective technology, humans dreamed up new realities to replace it. But the collective wasn't finished. Their ships began to combine, forming a vast crystalline lattice that channeled the power of 1,000 suns. If we cannot contain you, their commander declared, we will end you. Your chaos cannot be allowed to spread. The combined collective fleet fired as one, unleashing a wave of destruction that would not just destroy Earth, but erase the very possibility of its existence from the universe. It was their ultimate weapon, designed to remove threats so completely that they never were. Marcus looked at his readings and smiled. They still don't understand. Their weapon requires reality to behave according to their rules. But we're not playing by their rules anymore. The human fleet moved as one. Their crews linked through the quantum harmonics in ways that transcended normal consciousness. They didn't try to stop the collective's attack. They transformed it. The wave of destruction became a catalyst for change, its energy feeding into the very systems humanity had dreamed into existence. Impossible. The collective commander's voice cracked with genuine fear. You cannot survive this. It defies every law of physics. No, Sarah corrected them. It defies your understanding of physics. We've moved beyond that. The human ships began to pulse with energy that didn't just bend reality. It reimagined it. The quantum harmonics reached a crescendo, and suddenly the space around Earth wasn't just changing. It was evolving. The collective's weapon dissipated into a cascade of new possibilities, each one shaped by human imagination and will. Their fleet is destabilizing, Marcus reported. The quantum changes we introduced, their technology can't adapt. It's too rigid, too dependent on physics staying the way they think it should be. One by one, the collected ships began to fail. Their perfect crystalline forms couldn't handle a reality that refused to follow their rules. Systems crashed as the very principles they were built on shifted and changed. The human fleet pressed their advantage, not with weapons of destruction, but with waves of transformation. They weren't trying to destroy the collective. They were showing them what was possible when you stopped believing in limitations. You could join us, Sarah offered to the failing collective fleet. We could show you what it means to dream beyond boundaries. But the collective couldn't accept it. Their ships began to retreat, their perfect formation breaking apart as they fled from something they couldn't comprehend. A species that had taken the laws of physics and turned them into suggestions. As the last collective ship vanished into what remained of normal space, Marcus turned to Sarah. They'll be back, and they'll bring others. Sarah nodded, watching as the human fleet regrouped, their hulls still rippling with possibilities. Let them come. Every attack makes us stronger, teaches us more about what's possible. The ancient ones chose us because we don't accept limitations. Above them, Earth's defenders stood ready, their ships now more than mere vessels. They were proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in following rules, but in imagining new ones. In the aftermath of the battle, the ancient ship revealed its final secret. As Sarah and Marcus stood in its control chamber, now transformed by humanity's touch, the vessel's consciousness reached out one last time. You have exceeded all expectations. The thought voice resonated through their minds. We were right to wait for your kind. The ship's interior had changed, adapting to human presence just as humans had adapted to its technology. What had once been alien and incomprehensible now felt natural, an extension of human consciousness itself. You knew, Sarah said, both aloud and in her mind. You knew we would do more than just use your technology. You knew we would change it. Images flowed through their consciousness. The history of the ship's creators, a civilization that had reached the pinnacle of technological achievement, only to find themselves trapped by their own success. They had mastered the universe's laws, but had lost the ability to imagine new ones. "We became static," the ship explained. "Perfect, unchanging, eternal. But in our perfection, we stopped growing. We saw other races following the same path. The Collective, the most recent example. They achieve technological mastery, then stagnate, becoming guardians of what is rather than explorers of what could be." Marcus understood. "That's why you chose us. Not because we were advanced, but because we never stopped questioning, never stopped dreaming of new possibilities." "You are evolution's child," the ship confirmed. "Your chaos, your creativity, your relentless drive to exceed limitations. These are not flaws to be corrected. They are the qualities that will prevent you from falling into the trap of perfection." Through the vessel's sensors, they watched as Earth's defense fleet continued to evolve. Each ship was different now, changed by the unique consciousness of its crew, the technology adapting to human dreams and desires in ways that defied standardization. "The Collective will return," Sarah said. "They'll bring others. Species that fear change, that want to maintain their version of order." The ship's response carried a sensation of approval. "And you will show them another way. Already you have taken our technology in directions we never imagined. You do not simply use tools, you dream them into new forms." Marcus stepped forward, his hand touching the living metal of the ship's console. "What happens now? What do we become?" "That is the question that defines your species," the ship replied. "You never stop asking what comes next. We give you no destiny to fulfill, no path to follow. Your future is unwritten, undefined, exactly as it should be." The ship's consciousness began to fade, but not in retreat. Instead, it was merging with the new systems humanity had created, becoming part of their evolution rather than remaining separate from it. "We were the guardians," it said, "waiting for those who could inherit not our answers, but our questions. You have proved yourselves not by mastering our technology, but by transforming it. The age of guardians is ending. The age of dreamers begins." As the ancient consciousness merged fully with humanity's creations, Sarah and Marcus felt a new awareness spreading through Earth's defensive grid. Every ship, every system, was now part of something greater, not a rigid network like the Collectives, but a living, growing, dreaming entity that remained uniquely human even as it transcended human limitations. "They thought they were coming to prevent our evolution," Sarah said, watching as the quantum harmonics created patterns that had never existed before. "Instead, they triggered it." Marcus nodded, his eyes on the displays that showed Earth's ships continuing to change, each one becoming unique as the consciousness of its crew shaped it. "We're not just advancing anymore. We're becoming something new, something that doesn't just accept reality. We dance with it." Beyond Earth's orbit, space itself had changed. The battle had left areas where reality flowed like water, where the laws of physics were more like suggestions, waiting for human imagination to shape them anew. The Collective had come to prevent humanity from gaining forbidden knowledge, but they had instead witnessed the birth of something beyond their comprehension. "Send word to every human colony and outpost," Sarah ordered. Tell them that the chains are broken. The future isn't something we follow. It's something we create." Above them, Earth's defenders stood ready, each ship a unique expression of human creativity, merged with impossible technology. They were no longer bound by the rules of what could or couldn't be done. They had become the dreamers the Ancient Ones had waited for. Evolution's child, ready to show the galaxy that the greatest force in the universe wasn't power or technology, but the ability to imagine something new. The age of limitations was over. The age of dreams had begun.